In the previous video, we went through how to build a login screen for our Facebook clone, right? In today's video, we are going to go ahead and build the registration screen for Facebook. So this is how the registration screen for Facebook is going to look like, and we're going to build this today. So this image here is what we built yesterday or in our previous video. So today, we are going straight to building this. So as you can see that the login screen is one screen, and then the registration screen is another screen. So what we want to be doing is that we want to be able to navigate between screens, okay? We want to move from one screen to the other. So as you can see, we have certain buttons here, okay? So down you see create new account. So whenever the user hits the create new account, the user is being navigated to the registration screen here, alright? So that's what we're going to do. So in order to make or to implement this, we'll have to again install the React navigations /native. So again, we go to our web browser, and then we go to the React navigation official website, okay, and then we go to the installations, then we copy this code as you have it here, npm install React navigation /native. So we copy this code here, go back to our VS code, and then we paste it inside our terminal. Now always make sure that you have navigated to your Facebook clone project before you install. So once you install this, we can go ahead and then start our navigations, alright? So what we're going to do is that we're going to say import what we just did. So we're going to import the navigation container from the React navigation. Okay, so you see import, then we bring this here and we see navigation container. Now where are we importing it from? You see from at React. So you can see I have certain options here. So I choose this one, React navigation. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is that I'm going to create a navigation container and take away this view that we have in here. So I'm going to remove this view. Alright, I'm going to take away this view here. Then create a navigation container. Alright, so with this navigation container, it's supposed to be 2, right? I think due to internet connection. Alright, so there it is. So I'm going to copy this codes here. I'm going to move these codes inside the container. Alright, so what this means is that we are putting all our screens inside a particular container, which is the navigation container. So we'll be able to navigate our screens within this container. Alright, so what we're going to do next is that I'm going to again remove this login screen, the login screen component we have here. I'm going to take it away. What we're going to do here is that we are going to create a stack navigator. So what I mean is that first we are going to create a container for our screens, okay? Now within this container, we are going to stack the screens on top of each other. So the first screen we'll be stacking on is the login screen. Then under which we stack the registration screen. So we keep stacking the screens on top of each other. So anytime we need one screen, we can swipe to get another screen. We swipe, then we get the other screen. So that's what you're going to be doing. So after creating a navigation container, we also have to get to the stack navigator in order to be able to do this. So another thing we're going to do is that we have to install the React navigation stack. So what you have to do is that, so to create a stack, you have to do npm install. So you type it in here, you type it in there, npm install, right? Npm install, then you say at React, okay, navigation, then / then stack. So you type in this command inside your terminal and it's going to install the stack navigation. So this stack is going to stack our screens on top of each other. So once you do the installation, you can come back to the top here and then import the stack, the React navigation stack, okay? So that's exactly what you're going to do. So you say import. What are we importing? We are importing the create stack screen, okay? So you say create stack navigator. from at React navigation slash stack. Alright, so now we can create our stack navigator. So creating it, we say const stack equals create stack navigator.
Let's go.
Alright, so now we have created a stack navigator, so we have to stack our screens on top of each other. So we come inside the navigation container here. So within the navigation container, you create a stack. So you say stack dot screen. So it's self-closing, okay? Stack dot screen. Then we give it a name. Stack dot screen. The name of this one is going to be the login screen. So the first screen you're going to put on top is the login screen. So this, then we say login screen. Alright. Then next you write the name of the component. The component is login screen. We earlier said that the functions in React in JavaScript are also components. Okay. Alright. So the next screen we want to also stack here is the registration screen. So we have to put the registration screen on top, then we put another screen beneath it. So we keep stacking the screens on top of each other. So I can copy this one here. I can copy and then paste. Alright. And then change the name. And this is my game to play to claim a brand new name. Oh, and I ain't gonna lie to you, I'm a bit nervous that I might screw everything up that I've ever done. But what's the point of living if you ain't having fun? I guess I'll try this, try that, might miss, gotta find what I'm good at. I guess I look here, look there, over where am I scared? So you see that I created another screen called the register screen, and I'm passing it. So I'm stacking the register screen and then the login screen. I'm stacking them on top of each other. So the login screen will be on top, then followed by the register screen. So now I have to create a file called the register screen. So again, we go here to the SRC folder. Then within our SRC folder, we go to the screens. Okay. Then within the screens, I create the register screen. So you can see I have a register screen here, .js file. Alright, so once you create it, you can open it here. You can open it from here. Okay, so you can either do the React Native functional exponent to create a template for you, or you can do everything manually. So you can go back here. Then over here, what we do next is that we have to import the login screen and then the register screen. So I have one here. I can copy this one.
Let's go.
And paste. So I'm going to change the name to register screen.
I'm tired of shit and the coffee ain't hit yet. Damn, ain't that great. I don't want to go to work cause my boss is a jerk and I'm not even that paid. I need a change in my life cause I don't feel alive.
So now we have it here. Alright, so now that we have it, so now you can see that we created a navigation container, right? And within the navigation container, we also have to create a stack navigator. Right, so that is the one thing that we missed. So over here, I'm going to create a stack navigator here. So we had a stack screens and then we also have stack navigator. So I'm going to copy these guys here and send them inside. Alright, so I'm going to explain this. So what this here is doing is that within the navigation container, we have a stack navigator. So you see we are creating stacks of screens. We are stacking the screens on top of each other. Now with these stacks of screens, you will need a stack navigator to move us within the screens. Okay, so we already have a navigation container for all the screens, all right, for the stack navigator. Then within the stack navigator, we have the screens itself, which are stacked on top of each other. Then the stack navigator is going to move us between the screens. So that's why I've put the screens here inside the stack navigator. So it's going to navigate us between the screens, okay? And then overall, we have the navigation container. Alright, so that will be it for the app.js. So we can go back to our login screen to make certain changes over there. So before we go, All right, so let's go to our login screen here. So in our login screen, what we want to do is that whenever the user presses on the create new account, we want to navigate the user to the register screen. Okay, so we're going to pass the navigation prop inside the login screen here. So you write here navigation. All right, then what we're going to do next is that we go to where the create new account is. So we move down to where the create new account is, and we say on press. That is, if the user presses on the button, we want the user to create a new account. Okay, so we put we uncomment it, so on press create new account. So you can pass in any value here. Now you have to define this create new account. So we go back to the top here, and you can see I've created a constant here, which is the create new account. So I'm going to uncomment it. So what this means here is that whenever the user presses on the create new account, we want to navigate the user to the register screen that we just created. So navigate register screen. Okay, so register, if you want to move to the, whenever you click on that create new account, move to the register screen. All right, so now let's move to the register screen itself. So this will be it for the register screen. Now we have to move to the register screen. So in the register screen, I can copy some of the codes from here because we'll be using almost the same thing. I can copy them here, come back here and then paste them here. All right. So here I'm going to create a constant, which is the function here. So const register screen. All right. And it's going to return something. So return. All right. So we have our register screen. So let's start developing our register screen in here. So with the register screen, if you can see from the screenshot that we have here, from the screenshot, let me navigate to there. All right, so from the screenshot you can see that we have a save area here, we have a big save area here, then within the save area we have the arrow, this arrow button here. Now this arrow is coming from the Expo vector icon, so you have to import that one also. Then we have the meter, the logo from the logo, the Facebook logo. We have some text input here, and then the button down here, and then another button here, and then the meter logo here. So what you're going to do is that we have to put this arrow there. So inside our return, here, we're going to say that we're going to create a save area. All right, so save area, a save area view. Now within the save area view, we are going to do all we have to do here. So within the save area view, we know that the first thing to do is the arrow on top there. Now this arrow, as you said, is coming from the vector icons. All right, so you can go to, if you don't have it already installed, you can go to the vector icons, the website. I'll leave the link to all my other websites in the description, so you can find them in there. So you can open it from here, the Expo vector icons. So you can also install it right in the terminal to use npm install at expo/vector-icons, right? And it's going to install the vector icons for you. That is if you don't already have it on your machine. So you know Expo comes by default with the vector icons, but if you don't have it, you can also install using this command over here, npm install at expo vector icons. All right, then you install it. So when you install the vector icons, you can come back here, you put a command here, and then you install it. So what we want to do is that if you look at the picture that we have down there, sorry, up here, this icon here is actually an arrow button. Okay, so it's also a button. It's supposed to move us to the login. So anytime the user hits this arrow, he's supposed to move the user back to the login screen. So it's going to be like a button, right? So what we're going to do here is we're going to use a touchable opacity. You say touchable opacity, a touchable, right? Touchable opacity. All right, so touchable opacity here. So this touchable opacity is like when the user touches it, the color is supposed to like kind of fade, right? When you touch it, fades a little when you touch it. Then the name of this icon is actually what we call an iron icons. You can find this arrow back icon from the iron icon. So you import the iron icons here. So we say iron icons, right? So that is self-closing. Then we can pass in some properties. So we can pass in some properties here. So the first property you pass in is the name. What's the name of this arrow icon? So that's the arrow back. You can have the arrow back. Alright. Then the next thing is the size. We want it to be quite big. So we take the size to be, let's say 30. Alright. Then the next thing is the color. The color, as you can see, is black. Right. Then we can say that on press. When the user presses on this arrow button, it should do something. So we say on press. When the user presses on it, it should say on press. We say navigate. So navigation. Don't navigate. It should move the user to the login screen. Alright, so when the person touches this icon here, we should move the user to the login screen. Alright, so we have to also import, as we are using the Expo the vector Expo vector icons, you have to import this iron icons also. So we come down here, then we say import. What are we importing? The iron icons from at Expo vector icons. Alright, so we are good to go. Alright, so now we have imported the image over there. So after that, let me show you how we got it, where this iron icons is actually from. So when we come to the iron icons when you Google search it, right, and then I search for an arrow back icon, let's say arrow back. So you can see that for the iron icon, you have so many of this. You can see this arrow back icon here, right? So if you click on it, you see the name is actually going to appear down. So as you can see, there is an iron icon and the name is down here, arrow back outline, right? So you can find all kinds of icons over here. So this where we found it from, the iron icons. Okay, so let's go back to our VS Code. Alright, so we are done with the touchable opacity for the first. So when the user touches it, it's supposed to fade a little, so you know that it is actually a button. So the next thing we're going to do here is to create a view. Now, why are we going to create this view? So let's look at here. So we're going to create a view to contain everything that we have in here. Okay, so we create a view there. So we come here. That is a view is like a small container to host everything. So we have a view. Alright, so we have created a view in here. Now inside this view, we have to style this view also. So let's style it that we can see that the contents inside this container here, they are all kind of in the center, right? They are in the center of the screen. So using React Native Wind, we can actually style this. So you can say style, right? Then we say S and then backticks. Then we can see that justify center, then items center. Alright, so we want to put the items which will be inside this container at the center of the screen, right? So excluding this button here, everything else should be in the center of the screen. So now we can enter this view here. Now the first thing inside this view, so you know that we are using the React Native Wind to do our styling, so we have to import it, right? So you can see that we actually have we have imported the React Native Wind from, as we copied it from the login screen, the S. Alright, so here the first thing is the Facebook logo, right? And remember that we have already used this Facebook logo before from the login screen, so we can actually go there and then copy this Facebook logo from here. So we can copy it here, then bring it to our login screen. Alright, so we can change the margin from 20 to 16. As you can see that here it's not that big, just like it was in the previous one. All right, so we have our image there. Now the next thing you're going to be doing after this is our text inputs. So you can see we have 4 text inputs here. 1, 2, 3, 4 text input fields. So again, we can go back to our login screen and then do some copy here. So we can copy this, right, and then bring it to our register screen and then paste. Alright, so we're going to change this one from email, mobile number to, we have here full name, so mobile number to full name. Alright, then we can say autofocus. Then here we're going to change the email. We change the email to full name. We change the email, the value for it to full name. Then we change this one to set full name. Right, then just as we talked about in the previous video about the fact that the user is going to be changing the characters, so we want to, as the change in the text occurs, we want to keep track of the changes. We want to update ourselves, so we can go to the top here and then use the use state, right? So I've already explained this one in depth in the previous video. So we say const, then we say full name, then set full name, right? Then equals use state. So we want to keep track of the changes in character or the text the user will be inputting, right? So to keep track of that, and after keeping track of it, we're going to set it as the user's full name, right? So we keep track of it and then we save it as the user's full name. So the next thing to do here is to do the next, which is the mobile number or the email. So again, we can actually copy this whole thing again, right? You can copy this whole thing and then paste it. Alright, so we can change this one from the mobile number, from the full name, to mobile number or email. So mobile number or email. Then we can change this to, we can take away the autofocus, right? And then change this to email. We can change this to set email. Alright, then we can go to the top again, copy the use state, then change this to email and then set email. Alright, so we have 2 of the text input fields done, right? So the next thing to do is to move to the password. So again, we can actually copy and paste again, right? Sorry, not this. We can copy and paste this text input again. Copy and then paste. Okay, I hope. Okay, so we can copy from here and then paste. Alright, yeah, so that's it. So again, we are going to change this email and password to mobile number to password. Then we're going to say secure text entry. Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Alright, they're going to change this to password. They're going to change this one to set password. Alright. Hold my beer for a minute. I'm about to quit my job, cash in for a ticket. I'm going on a trip and I don't want to visit. I'm gonna stay there till I feel like I'm winning. And this is just the beginning. I need a big change, help me feel like okay. So the next thing to do is the last one, which is the confirm password. So let's see, for the confirm password again, we can copy again, right? So it's more of the copy and paste. Confirm password and then we paste again. So we can change this to confirm password, a placeholder to confirm password. And then again, secure text entry. Then we can change this to confirm password. Right, and you change this one to set confirm password. So set confirm password. Then we have to go for our use state. So for the use state, we go to the top, copy, paste, paste. So to change one to set password, this one to password, alright, and then set password. Then again, we change this one to confirm password, and then this one also to set confirm password. Alright, so we have our 4 text input fields done. So let's cross check it. So password, set password, confirm password, set confirm password. Alright, so we are done with our text input fields here. Alright, so the next thing to do is our buttons. So we have a create account button here. We have already have an account button, and then we have an image. So for the buttons, we're going to put them inside a view. Right, we're going to put our buttons inside a view here. So let's create another view outside this view. Okay, sorry, inside this view. So inside the view here, we are going to create a view, another view which is inside it. So inside this view, we are going to create our 2 buttons. So we can call our buttons here. Now buttons are self-closing, so we can copy it because we are creating two of the buttons. Right, so we are creating a create account button. So the first thing is the title. So the properties for a button, the first thing we're going to write here is the title of the button. So we say title equals, the title here is create account. Right, then again we want to style the button, so we say button style. Button style equals, so backtick, s backtick for the, so we want it to be rounded. It should be rounded more, so let's make extra large, and the margin at the top should be 6. So what this means is that there should be a space between this create button and then this text input field here. We want to be a space here, and we want the button to be rounded, as you can see. So the type of this button is a solid button, but since all buttons are solid by default, we don't have to actually write it here. Alright, so the next thing we have to do is to move to the next button. The next button is create already have an account. So already have an account, we say title equals already have an account. So it's actually a question mark, right? Then on the next line, we say the type of button is an outline. Type of button is an outline, right? So as you can see that this already have an account button is different from, this is a solid button, but it's an outline. But you can see that there's something actually revolving around it, right? And then the text is blue within it. Okay, so that's it. So you can go to the React Native Elements website to learn more about the properties of this one. Alright, so next thing is to style it. So button style, then we say S and then backtick, the backticks. Alright, then you see we should round it, we want it to be rounded extra large 2x, right? And then the margin at the top, we want it to be 16. You can see that this create already have an account button is quite far from the create account. There's big space between it. So we want the margin on the top to be very big, right? They leave a big space between them, right? And it's also rounded. They already have an account button is rounded, as you can see, right? So the next thing we do is to say on press. So when the user presses this button, already have an account, what should you do? So let's put has account here, and then we're going to define it. So if the user already has an account, right, what we want to do is that we want to go to the top, right? We go to the top and then we redefine it over there. So we're going to say that if the user already has an account, you should move the user back to the login screen. Okay, so you can come here and say const has account. So if the user already has an account, move the user to the login screen. So you see that navigation dot navigate, right, login screen. So if you already have an account, then go back to the login screen. Alright, so when the user presses on that already have an account, when you press on that one, it's going to navigate you back to the login screen. Okay, alright, so let's see, the last thing that we have to do now is to add this meter icon that we see down there. Okay, so you go down there to the meter icon. So let's scroll down there to the meter icon, and then within it, so this view here is for the buttons. So let's bring it closer to it. Alright, and then let's bring the safe area view quite closer to it. So this is outside the buttons. So outside this button, you're going to create an image. Images are self-closing. Alright, then the first property of an image is the source. You know that we have actually done for this from the login screen, right? So we can actually kind of delete this, then go back to the login screen and just come and kind of copy paste. We did it for the login screen, right? This image here, we did it for the login screen. So we copy, we come back to the register screen, and then we paste it here. Alright, so it's actually going to be the same thing, right? So we paste it over there. Alright, so I think that will be it for this screen. What we have to do next is let's ensure that we have exported this. So export default register screen. Sorry. Alright. Sure. So that will be it for the register screen. So what we have to do next is that I'm going to close this screenshot here, and I'm going to run it on my phone so that we actually see how the thing actually looks like on the phone, on the mobile device, right? So let's skim through and see that everything is on point. We don't have, so let me close this screenshot here. Alright, and then let me enlarge our code. Alright, so you can see everything. So this is what we did for the login screen from the previous video. So what I'm going to do next is to do npm start. So now with the npm start, we are going to load it right from the phone so that we see how everything is. So this is the register screen. What we will just wait for the register screen. Okay. Alright, and then for the app.js2, we did the navigation containers and then the stack navigators. Alright, so now let me run npm start. Npm start here, so that we can load it on the phone. So it takes a while to kind of load this thing, right? So as it's going to generate us a QR code, right? And then we're going to scan the QR code from our phone so that it can connect the code we have in our VS Code to the Expo app that we have on our phones. And it's going to display all what we have done here on the phone. So I'll give a copy of my phone screen on the desktop so that you can see, and then we'll be having some interactions with the app on the screen so that you can see how this whole build actually went. Okay. Alright, so we are going to wait for the QR code to be generated, and then once it's generated, you can go straight to our Expo. You can open. Alright, so we have the page loaded over here, but you can see one thing is that we have the stack navigator showing us the header of the screen. like it is showing us the header of the screen. Okay, you can see login screen on top there. It's showing that the stack that we are on now is the login screen, but we don't want that to show. Okay, so you pass in that screen options. Then we say that the header shown should be false. We don't want to show that we are on the login screen, we're on the registry, we're on the register screen. We just don't want that one to show because we know already that this is the login screen. So we pass in that the screen options, the header for the screen options should be false. Alright. So within the stack navigator, I'm going to pass in screen options equals header shown, then the header shown should be false. And after that, I'm going to control save. That's going to refresh the app on the phone, and then when it refreshes, you will see that this login screen will disappear. So it's loading. Alright, so you can see it is refreshing. Alright, so now you can see that the login screen has actually disappeared. The header that was there as login screen has disappeared. Okay. Alright, so now you can test it now to see whether we can navigate to the next screen. So we know this is the login screen, so can we navigate to the register screen which we just created? So you can see that this login button all don't work now because we haven't written any code behind them. So you can see when I clicked on the create new account, alright, so we have an error. It is saying that the touchable opacity doesn't exist. So you can go to the register screen and then pass in the touchable opacity in the React Native. So we look for where React Native is, then we import the touchable opacity. You can see that we used it without like importing it. So that is something you always have to look out for. Then when we control save and then refresh, you can see that we get it back. So remember that we use the touchable opacity for the arrow back icon, right? So for that one we have to always include it. So now we can try again and then go to the create new account so that we can try to go to the register screen. And then you see that this time it's going to work out perfectly. So let's see how it goes. So I'm going to try input some stuff here and some passwords. Alright, so I can't log in because we have not done the Firebase. So when I say create new account, so you can see that it has brought us to the register screen. So this is the screen that we just created. You can see that, but there is something wrong, right? You can see that the create account buttons is not the way we want it to be. We want it to be the width should be very large, right? But you can see that the width is not actually occupying 90% of the screen. So you have to go to where we created the buttons, the view of the buttons, right? Then we pass in the styling components. Right, we make it 90%. So we say style, then equals, then the curly braces s, and then backticks. We make the width to be 90%. So you see that in React Native Wind, the percentages is in fractions. So 11 on 12, that will give it. So we control save and then it refreshes. Then you can see that the button has actually, the width has increased, right? Okay, I think we should try the arrow button to also see whether it's working. Right, so let's try it and see. Can you go back to the login screen? Okay, so there's an error. It's saying that. Alright, so let's fix that. We didn't pass the navigation prop. So in the register screen, we know that we've been navigating between the screens. Okay, so you always have to pass in the navigation prop inside the register screen components or the function. So we pass in navigation. Okay, then again we control save. So now let's try it again to see whether it works. So let's click on it. Yeah, so we can click on it. Alright, now you can see that we have moved to the login screen. So we can play around with it. Right? So if I click here, see already have if you already have an account, it moves you to the login screen, right? If you click the back icon, it takes you back to the login screen. And if you want to create an account, it brings you back to the registration screen. Okay, so just navigate yourself in and out. So friends, that's it. In the next video or in the next episode, we'll be going to the Firebase authentication and how to actually log in into our home screen. Alright, so see you in that video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time, Apatia.